Welcome back. You're watching Barely Sober Walker Talk, where we break down AMC's The Walking Dead. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a quick episode, just talking about some of our favorite episodes and some of our least favorite episodes, as well as ranking the seasons, kind of where we stand on those, and maybe getting into a little bit of predictions about next week's episode. So, George.
Hello.
How's it going? What are you drinking tonight, George?
I'm drinking some red wine. I think it's some Merlot. I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones, and it just puts me in the mood. I just need to drink. Like, watching that show just makes me need wine to drink all day.
I agree.
What are you drinking?
I'm back to the hard root beer, too, so we're being pretty repetitive here. We got to change it up.
We're just falling into patterns with our liquor. That's okay.
All right, so I think we can both agree that this half season of The Walking Dead's been pretty spectacular so far.
Yes, definitely. These past 3 episodes I've enjoyed each one of them in their own little different ways, and I'm liking it. I hope they continue what they're doing this past half season.
It's like they finally, after 5.5 seasons, got the pace of a TV show correct. I don't know why
they kind of
so
they
long.
must have hired and fired some people and just got the pace of knowing, how to draw audiences in and keep it interesting each episode.
So much has happened in each episode, and it's like what I've always wanted from this show. You can even take the first half of the season where they spent 8 episodes to establish that a herd of walkers surrounded Alexandria. You could break that down into a 20-minute scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they stretched it out. They added some storylines. The wolves attacked, but at the end of the day,
they make it grueling to watch.
A good way to bring that up is that my dad, after the season 5 finale, he was like, "I'm not watching the show anymore. It's just going nowhere." Blah blah blah. He didn't watch those 8 episodes, the first half of season 6, and then after the No Way Out episode, when spoiler, Carl got his eye shot out, I was like, "Dad, you should maybe watch at least that episode." He watched that episode, and he's like, "What did I miss? It doesn't even seem like I missed anything." He's like, "So what, zombies attack the village?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty much it."
What did I miss? It's funny.
But, yeah, these episodes have been good, and I'm hooked again, he's hooked again, you're hooked again. So
yeah, I was really struggling 5 through the 6, just like, were really hard. Like, I really wanted to give up on the show.
Yeah,
and
I was almost there,
I think it was
too.
a lot of you were telling me not to give up yet.
I try to tell everyone not to give up just because I've read the comic books, and but I've been saying this forever, though, because I'm always waiting. Back when the governor was coming, I was like, I can't wait for the governor. He's going to be awesome. But then he was all right, but they went a different direction with him. He was almost complete opposite from what he was in the comic books. And I don't know if you know, George, but there was all these crazy scenes where he rapes Michonne, ties her up and rapes her repeatedly.
Yikes.
And then Michonne escapes and tortures him, and and then they totally omitted all that from the show. So, but nowadays they seem to be following the comics more closely, which
right.
I think
I feel like
a
lot of these important fans or fans that really like The Walking Dead are the ones that are reading the comics.
And ever since season 4, that's when Scott Gimple took over as showrunner, and he's a really big fan of the books. So I know that he's been trying to steer the show back on track with that. And I know you don't like season 4 too much, right?
No, I don't.
And a lot of people don't. A lot of people found it boring. But I know that the reason for everything that Scott Gimple did in that season was to course correct. Because season 3 strayed so far off the comic.
Oh my god, season 3 was god awful.
I agree. I think that is the worst season.
Definitely. If I was gonna rate it, it would be the worst season. And I feel like they've gotten worse. I feel like 2's not very good either because it's just boring time in the farm.
But 2 has some of the better moments. I agree, too.
2 has good moments,
Yeah.
but I think it's not a good season.
Right.
3, you're right, is worse. And then, kind of it does improve a little bit. I don't like 4,
But the thing with 4
But-
is that, and I remember like saying this at the time when people were saying, "Why are they giving us the governor's like backstory now?" Or not backstory, but like those 2 episodes where they had the governor wandering around. But the reason is because Glenn Mazzara, I don't even know how to say his last name, but the last showrunner fucked up the governor so much that they needed those 2 episodes to create more of the comic book governor.
Right. Okay.
So a lot of that was like course correcting.
And like, I also don't enjoy too much the beginning of season 5, but near the end of season 5, like I think it really starts to pick up pace where the show needed to be.
So if you had to rank your seasons, I know it's like a difficult thing to do, but what would you say?
I'd say number 1. I mean, are we including 6 in this?
Yeah, why not?
I'd say I would go 6 to 5 season. Then I go all the way down to season 1.
Wait, so 6 is the best, 5 second best?
5 second best. Then I would go down to season 1. Maybe go to season 4 and 2, then 3.
I think I have the exact same order.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like looking at this. 6. 6, 5, 1, 4, 2, 3. Definitely.
Yeah, I think you're right. The only thing is that season 2, I really like some of those episodes, and for some reason it elevates the whole season for me.
I mean, I do like some of those episodes. Like Shane in that season was very good.
Yeah, that whole season's about Shane's like descent into madness.
Right.
And it's really good if you just look at it from that point of view.
But I feel like the main plot points in that season really turned me off. In terms of trying to find Sophia.
Yeah, but the
And-
payoff to that was so good.
Yeah, I remember being in shock when they find her. But I feel like they drag out that looking for her. And Carol wasn't really enjoyable to watch then.
And you know,
She was just like a crying mother.
I just remembered something from season 2 that was probably like one of the dumbest moments on the show. When Lori went looking for Rick and Carl, I think, and she just got into a car without telling anyone, drove like a mad woman, and crashed. Remember, she like flipped and totaled her car somehow
Yeah,
with no one on the road,
Yeah, like her, and she was pregnant then.
and she was pregnant. It's crazy.
So her being like so confused about having this baby in this world and this and that, like it was awful. I think.
Oh yeah, I hated Lori.
Like there were some scenes with Shane and Daryl with Daryl's brother that were interesting, but
that wasn't even until
most
season
part.
3.
no, I thought. What do you mean?
Merle wasn't in
no,
season
but
2.
Daryl had some flashbacks
Oh yeah, that's right.
with his brother.
That was also, but I like Daryl in season 2 a lot though. That was when he kind of like became a fan favorite, you know.
I think without Shane and Daryl, that season.
Oh, if you take Shane and Daryl out of that season sucks. That
Yeah.
immediately sinks to the bottom. Because yeah, you're right. You're right. Shane carries that season. I like that. Yeah, Shane carries that season.
So we agree on these seasons that we think are terrible and whole.
Right.
Let's move on to episodes.
Yeah, so do you want to start with the worst or the best? I'm curious to see what you have to say.
I say we start with the worst because that's what we're talking about, how bad some of these seasons are.
Okay, I like it.
My worst episode that I hate, and I think actually a lot of people like this episode, but it's season 3, episode 14, called Prey.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say the one that I had. All right.
No, it's Prey. It's the one that Andrea
I
dies
know.
in.
Actually, that's a close call for my list. It's not on my list, but it's up
Because
there.
I hate Andrea
Yeah.
through every episode.
me too.
From
Me
1,
too.
2, and 3. And in this episode, they glorify her and make her into some type of savior and like like a good person, and it drove me crazy.
You know, it's
watching that episode and how watching people just be like, Andrea, no, like we miss you, don't go. I'm like, no, I was so happy she died. Like I hated her.
You know what that episode always reminds me of too? Like the governor is really weird in that episode. He's like whistling like some serial killer. I mean, I don't know. It was just a strange episode. I agree.
Yeah, the governor's hunting down Andrea in that.
Remember, he keeps whistling though. He's like walking around with a shovel, whistling. It's like super weird.
It's a very weird episode, and I just didn't like how they glorified Andrea's death, and I was happy for her to go.
Yeah, that's one of those this happens every once in a while in The Walking Dead, but sometimes there's like an episode that doesn't even seem like it fits in with the rest of the story. Like that was just some weird like horror movie episode, like some cheesy horror movie.
Right? She was locked in with that nerdy guy. She was locked in that room. I can't remember his name. With the governor's like scientist.
Oh, but that's after. That's at the end of that episode, right?
Oh yeah. It's and when she dies, she gets a bit.
Right. Yeah.
When she dies, and they kind of like made her into a hero.
Oh, wait. That's the season finale when she gets bit.
Is it? I'm talking about the episode that she dies in, and from what I looked up.
Oh no, that should be episode 16. I thought you were talking about the episode where she's running from the governor and then he catches her.
Maybe I got through. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So then I'm wrong.
But you hate the episode when she dies?
I hate that episode. When I was reading the description, I thought it was this episode. So yeah.
Right.
So it's Welcome to the Tombs.
Yeah.
That I hate. Is that the one you have?
No, I'm talking about the other one where it's literally the entire episode of just Andrea and the governor in like a fucking warehouse or something. And he's like walking around like whistling with a shovel and she's like hiding from him. And it's super weird.
I remember that episode and that was pretty boring.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. I know what you're talking about the episode where she's like strapped to the chair and all she needs to do is pick up that stupid wrench or something. And she can't do it because she keeps talking.
Yeah.
Fuck that episode too.
What is your first hated episode?
So my most hated episode by far is Arrow on the Doorpost. That's a season 3 episode. I'm not sure the exact number. Let me pull it up real quick.
Season 3, episode 13.
Episode 13.
That's when it's Rick and the governor really meet face to face, right?
Yes. That's when they spend an entire episode sitting at a table and they both like continually reach for their gun but then don't use their gun and this and that and they build up all this suspense and nothing fucking happens. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous episode. I don't care what anyone says. If anyone disagrees with me, you're fucking wrong. That episode sucks. You're dumb. You suck.
The episode sucked. I do remember that one too, and I remember being like, "This is awful episode."
What's the point of it? I hate it. I hate it so much.
Well, the governor had no intention of making a deal with Rick. I guess to show it's like the governor's just a crazy guy.
So you need to spend an hour to show that? In any other show, that would have been like a 15-minute scene, and then they would have parted ways. Oh, and I'll tell you what I hate also about that episode. It's because it fucking tricked me at the time. And I'm not talking about the fact that I thought like Rick and the governor were going to have some showdown. It's the fact that at the very end of that episode, they start playing this like sick music and it gets everyone amped up and Rick comes back to the prison and he just looks at everyone and he goes, "We're going to war." And everyone kind of like looks at him and it's like they're grabbing their guns, they're like gearing up. And it's like the first time you kind of see the whole group as kind of like, wow, they're a bunch of like, like a military force here almost, you know? And then what happens? They never go to war. That never happens. So they leave the episode off with you thinking that there's going to be this epic battle, which never happens. Not until Scott Gimple takes over and season 4 happens and Herschel gets his head chopped off. But, yeah, fuck that episode.
Okay, do you have let's move on to my second and I'll say my third one real quick.
Yeah, because I don't have those like in order really.
Right. So I have the same season 3, episode 6.
Okay. What's
called
this?
Hounded.
Ooh.
It's the episode that Rick hears the phone ringing. It's after Lori
man,
dies.
I should have put that on my list.
It's when Lori dies and he's like, "Who's on the phone? Like, I don't want to leave the phone because his phone's going off." Like, he has this crazy like hysterics going on and he's losing his mind. Like that, I feel like was just so like unimportant.
Oh my god, yeah.
Dragged out for no reason. Like, you want us to show Rick's kind of losing his mind. I think you can do it a little bit quicker.
So overdone.
You know, in a different way.
That shit lasted the entire season. He was seeing Lori's ghost in the field. Remember those episodes where he's like running around in the fields and like Herschel's like, "Dude, are you all right? Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
He's
like, just like Lori chilling.
I'm seeing
like,
things. Like,
I just hate that. It's, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then I want to say a lot of beginning of season 4. I just didn't appreciate near the end of the time of the prison with everyone getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyree freaking out about who killed those people.
Right.
Which just irked me. So what about your last two?
Oh, so wait, you don't have a specific episode? You're just saying in general that all those episodes?
I have Isolation down, but I think it was just a lot of that.
Yeah. So I have this is a season 1 episode, and I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but it's the episode where Glenn gets captured by like this Hispanic gang.
Yeah.
And then you find out they're just like nurses in an old people home. I just felt like it was so cheesy, so gimmicky, and so ridiculous. And just, it was season 1 of the show. Like, that's not the way to get people invested, by like having like some joke episode. You know what I mean?
It was a joke episode.
It's a joke.
Because they made it seem like Glenn was in trouble a lot, and then they walk into the old home, and Glenn's like chilling with some old lady.
Yeah.
Like nothing's wrong.
Unreal. I hated that. I hated what that did for the show. I almost stopped watching after that episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's season 1.
The pilot episode of the first season, I thought was so great and so like realistic and just I love that episode, and I was so hooked when I saw that. And then by the time we got to this episode, which was only like 3 episodes later, all of a sudden they're like, I don't know, it just seemed like a cheesy sitcom. I was like, am I watching Gilligan's Island or The Walking Dead? Because I can't even tell the difference right now.
You were watching Golden Girls.
Yeah. Oh my god. So that's one. And then the third one is this is a pretty recent one from season 5. It is season 5, episode 4, Slab Town. And this is when after Beth gets taken, and you don't know who she was taken by.
I had that one. I didn't put it down, but I had that one on my list.
You finally find out her storyline, and it is so goddamn boring. I don't even know what happens in it. I just looked at that episode, and I know for a fact that I have no idea what happened in that episode. Because it's like I was saying, it's one of those episodes where it's like, am I watching The Walking Dead, or is this fucking Grey's Anatomy now? Like, what is going on?
She's got to work for her food, and oh my god, everyone's like trapped there, like working. You can't leave.
They've been living in a hospital in the middle of Walker-filled Atlanta for like 3 years. Like, I don't get it. It's so weird. And they were still wearing their like cop uniforms and their nurse uniforms. Like, get real. It's the apocalypse. What are you doing? Fucking weird. I don't like it.
I didn't like that. I actually had that on my list.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
I'll tell you what, I
there.
almost put the episode where Beth stabbed that bitch cop with the scissors.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. Like, the whole group just risked their fucking lives traveling into Atlanta to save you. And then you almost got everyone killed by stabbing someone in, like, the shoulder with a stupid pair of scissors.
Everyone should have been killed. People were firing at each other in through a skinny hallway.
I know. So
how did no one else get shot?
No, I don't think anyone actually fired another gun after that. But yeah, I don't know. It was just chaos. But the only reason why I didn't put it on my list was because I actually, like, rewatched it on Netflix, or just, like, kind of zoomed through. And I forgot that in the beginning of that episode, Rick runs that guy over with the car and then shoots him. And I was like, I kind of like that scene, so.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to our best episodes.
Right.
Let's go from 3, 2 to your favorite.
Okay.
Let's start out. Do you have your third favorite?
I think so, yeah. I'm going to say my third favorite is Season 3, Episode 1, Seed. That's the first time. There's a time skip in between Season 2 and 3. And I remember being so jacked up when I saw that episode. It just starts off, and the group is already, like, you know, a unified group of badasses, which we hadn't seen before.
They know how to they know how to make things.
And it's the episode where they find the prison, and the whole episode is them just taking the prison, and it's pretty sweet. I mean, there's not too much dialogue. You just see how they're working together as a team now. And then the episode ends with Herschel getting his leg bit and Rick cutting it off. So it's a pretty awesome, action-packed episode. And it gave me high hopes for Season 3, which were not fulfilled. But
I remember that episode. And there was one thing. Is it the same episode when the opening scene, they're in the kitchen in some house, and Carl finds some dog food.
Yeah. It's that episode.
And opens it, and Rick grabs and throws it away. Like, we're not eating this shit.
I kind of never got that scene, but yeah.
I think the thing is that it was the show to, you know, that they're still human. They're not stepping down to that kind of, like, lower level of living and eating dog food.
Yeah.
But I remember watching it being like, that's, like, got good nutrients and fat and food in there. And I remember watching it being so angry that he threw the can of dog food. I'm like, oh, that's food. I'm hungry.
That scene, and I think Beth also sings a song during that episode. But if you take those two parts out, it's a pretty solid episode.
Yeah, I remember that just bothering me, being like, yo, I'm hungry. I don't care if it's dog food.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see. All right, so my third favorite is season 2, episode 3, called "Save the Last One." It's the episode where Shane shoots Otis.
Ooh, that was good at the time
to save Carl.
You know what? That was like the first time The Walking Dead kind of blew my mind. So that was a good episode.
That episode, just like nothing. I feel like. Maybe nothing else really crazy happens. I think it's interesting to see Shane and Otis maneuver around, the high school to find the drug, find the supplies to save Carl.
Right.
But when Shane, you kind of just see Shane just step out and just, I need to survive in a way. And they kind of it was like the first real drastic measure
it was.
Someone did to survive. It was the
first time someone did something shitty just to survive. Yeah. And that episode was cool because it started off with with Shane in the bathroom, shaving his head, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? And then it flashes back.
Right. So that episode I thought was great.
Good choice.
And then he comes back, and Carl ended up getting saved from getting shot from the deer. All right. So what's your second favorite episode?
So this was a tough one, and I'm not sure if these are the best episodes for real, or if it's more nostalgic for me for similar reasons. But I'm gonna go with season 2, when season 2 episode. I don't got it pulled up.
You know the title?
Yeah, Better Angels.
Season 2, episode 12. 12.
Episode 12, Better Angels. And this is the episode where Rick kills Shane.
Right. I thought you would pick that episode.
So I don't remember...
You love that.
I don't remember anything else in that whole episode But I do remember the scene when Rick kills Shane, and I loved that scene. I love them up on like that hilltop with like the moonlight in the background, and how like, you know, I remember watching it and being like, oh shit, like what is gonna happen? Like I wasn't sure if Rick was gonna kill Shane or not, because Shane had the gun pulled on him. Rick gave up his gun, and then you just see him slowly take his knife and stab Shane. He stabs the shit out of Shane right in the heart, and it's brutal, man. And it's the first time you see Rick like step up and have to do something like that.
Right. That was also, yeah, that was one of the first times really Rick had to do something drastic himself.
Yep.
I guess those two characters really showed their devotion in that season.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's pretty good.
So,
okay.
What do you got?
So my second favorite is season 6, episode 4, called Here's Not Here.
Really?
It's the one where Morgan learns from Eastman about, how do you say it? Kodo?
Yeah, I forgot, but
yeah,
Aikido.
I can't remember. Aikido.
I think.
I don't know. Just something about that episode made me enjoy it. Like, it was, I guess, nostalgic, how you put it. Like, it was a nostalgic episode for me. Just how Morgan went from such a phase when he was like, I have to clear.
Yeah,
I need to clear everything. And he breaks down to the point where he kind of, like, learns Aikido from Eastman. You know, Eastman this character who was pretty much made and died in that same episode. Would just, you know, he's learning from this man who had struggles, who went through the same thing Morgan did. I don't know. It just made me enjoy Morgan more as a character.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
I've always liked Morgan too, especially from that first season to now. Him growing, he really goes through some changes through this show.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fucking different every time you see him.
every like, quarter season, he's like a new person. Soon, I don't know. Maybe this season 7 or the end of season 6, he's gonna turn into like a rampage killer again, like bloodthirsty vampire. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's a good episode. I didn't expect that to be on your list though, for some reason.
Yes. So what's your number one favorite episode so far in this show, The Walking Dead?
Okay, so I had to really think about it, and I know at the end of the day, I need to say that it was season 2, again, episode.
Wow, season 2.
Exactly. See, this is why I don't like season 2 that much.
Season 2 very low, also.
Exactly, but it's because of these episodes that keeps it kind of high, in my opinion. So season 2, episode 13, Pretty Much Dead Already. That's when Sophia comes out of the barn. And I really think that's the best episode the show has ever had.
Right, when they're running from the barn, it's on fire, and the horde comes, right?
No, so not that one. This is Pretty Much Dead Already. This is when Sophia comes out of the barn at the end. This is before the walkers attack and all that.
Okay.
So in this episode, Shane, like, pretty much starts, like, really hitting his breaking point. He's freaking out. He brings such an intensity to the show. He's running around, screaming. He has the bag of guns. He starts handing out the guns to everyone. Like, I remember he throws a shotgun to Daryl. He's like, "You in with me?" And Daryl's just like, "Hell yeah!" Doesn't even know what's going on. And they're all getting amped up to shoot the walkers in the barn. And then they look over and they see Rick and Herschel, like, bringing more walkers to put in the barn. They have those, like, loop things around their neck.
Right.
And all of a sudden, and Shane just goes like, he just freaks, he just flips out. And they all start running, and there's this epic confrontation where Shane's like shooting, I don't know if the walker's supposed to be like someone, it was someone Herschel knew. He's like shooting her in the heart. He's like, if she was alive, would she still be able to walk after this? Shooting her in the gut and all this. It's super intense. Then they break open the barn. It's the first time you see the whole group shooting a bunch of walkers all together. And then, to cap it all off, Sophia walks out. And at the end of the day, as tough as Shane is, he's not tough enough to put down Sophia. And Rick's the one that has to step up and do it for him. So yeah, in my opinion, I think that, and just the way it was filmed and everything, I love that episode. I think it was the best.
You really like when the group's together just doing work on zombies.
Yeah, I guess I do.
I get you really enjoy when they're together and they have those bonding synced moments of awesomeness, just pure devastation.
I do, because I love how they've been through so much together, and they were strangers before the apocalypse started, and now they're family, and I think that's like a cool, you know.
You can't argue against that.
All right, so what's your number one?
My number one is season 4, episode 14, called The Grove.
Ooh.
When they're on the run from what, the prison, is it?
Yep.
Am I mixing this up? The prison, they're heading toward
Terminus.
Terminus. And it's the one with Carol and Tyrese, and they have the girls Mika and Lizzie.
Mm-hmm.
When Lizzie's really going through her like psychotic, just not understanding phase of what is really going on with these people, with the dead people. And it's when she kills her little sister, right? And she's just not there. Like, she's not understanding. She's like, oh, she'll come back. She'll be normal after she kills her little sister. And it's when Carol has to say, like, you know, look at the flowers.
Right.
And shoots her.
Classic Carol.
And I think that was such a... Huh?
It's like classic Carol.
Classic Carol, just doing what it takes. Once her daughter died, like...
Yeah, it's true.
She completely transformed. She had nothing to lose, I guess you could say. But that episode, like, I feel like it was such a shell shock for me, like, to see these girls can't, like, really wrap their head around what's going on.
Yeah.
And them knowing that maybe they can never do it, really, especially with Lizzie. And so Carol just makes a decision, like, I gotta kill her, kind of thing. I like, it wasn't really discussed. I feel like usually that's something you want to discuss with people. I'm gonna kill this little girl.
I think, like, okay. She kind of talked it over with Tyrese, but they didn't talk it
briefly,
over, right?
Though.
Yeah.
I
think Tyrese, they just both knew it needed to be done.
But think about I think it's season 2, when they have that prisoner, and a lot of the season is them discussing whether they want to kill this guy or not. Right. They discuss for a long time. In this case, they're killing this little girl who just has like a psychotic moment.
Yeah, it just shows their evolution, you know?
Yeah, and I think just that episode of just showing how fragile and how mentally stressful this world is.
Yeah.
It really put it like a little shock on me on that. And
that's an awesome episode.
I remember being like emotionally drained after watching that episode.
And that's always the best, isn't it?
Just draining my emotions. I went to bed crying that night.
Oh, it was
crying.
Good list.
My tears out.
All right, so really quickly, let me hear your thoughts. Like, you saw some of the coming attractions for the next week's episode. So what are your thoughts? What are your predictions? I mean, I'm coming from knowing what happens in the comic books, so.
What are my predictions? So from what I've seen for this coming up episode,
which is titled Not Tomorrow Yet.
Right. It's pretty much, from what I've seen from this episode, it's going to be Rick convincing Alexandra, hey, we need to attack and not be attacked. You know, if these saviors found us, they would kill us or take advantage of us. So we need to just stop that before it even starts. And it's gonna. I don't have any faith in this episode. I feel like the episode is just gonna be them just debating. You know, should we go after these people? Should we not? And I really am interested in seeing what Morgan is gonna do about it.
Morgan is
what he's gonna say.
Yeah, Morgan's the curveball in my thoughts because his character is totally different than in the books. But I wouldn't give up hope on this episode. There's a possibility that some shit might go down.
I mean, maybe they're trying to keep it light, I guess, as for viewers, but I feel like this episode is going to take a step back. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong.
I think you might be proven wrong. It kind of depends on when they're going to bring in some comic book material, but there's a possibility that I don't know. I don't know how to say this without. I really don't want to spoil it for you or for anyone
Possibility
listening.
of another an attack or another
Yeah.
group coming.
Well, yeah. It could be. Let's just put it this way. Like Negan might be more on top of his shit than Rick realizes. So. But that might not. Like you said, this could be just an episode that's a little bit more of like filler, slows
I
it
just
down.
I don't want an episode of them discussing and doing the pros and cons of.
I don't think it's
them
going to be much
attacking
of a
Negan.
discussion. I think Rick's just going to tell them this is what we're doing.
Right. Well, I want to see. I want to see what Morgan's going to do because he's doing the savior part of it. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to kill anyone or hurt anybody, and maybe let's see if he has to get to the point in this season where he has to kill somebody, or if he's gonna go into this fight against the saviors.
All right. Well, let's see if did he learn his lesson with the wolf? He kept the wolf alive. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the wolf. I don't know. I really don't know what they're doing with Morgan. I'm really confused about that.
I don't think they're not hyping him up either that they're going to kill him. I like him. I hope he doesn't leave yet.
I was thinking for a while that he would die this season, but I'm starting to think otherwise now. It seems like him and Carol are going to have like a storyline together, since they've been butting heads so much.
Right.
We'll see. All right, well...
So that's it for us, then.
That's it for us. That's it for Walker Talk.
In 2 days, we're going to be coming back for Walker Talk.
That's right.
Talking about what actually happened in season, 6, episode 12?
Season 6, episode 12. Not Tomorrow Yet. Directed by Greg Nicotero. So, I'll tell you one thing. They only bring Greg Nicotero in to direct when shit goes down.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If you pay attention, he directs the episodes where, there's a lot of action. So,
we'll see.
We will see. All right, that's it.
So you can follow, like this video, subscribe to Barely Sober News and Reviews. I'm George Pecoraro. You could follow me on Twitter at Georgie Peck, on Instagram at PeckGeorge.
And I'm Chris Jokas. You can follow me on Instagram at Chris Jokas. That's GEOCOS.
Finish your drinks and go to bed.